Hello, my name is J.G. Connolly. I'm here tonight with my father. We are going to discuss the modern day recession and the Celtic Tiger. My first question is, what was the economic climate like in the Celtic Tiger times?
The Celtic Tiger years was a very rich time in Ireland. There was a huge amounts of money circulating due to the enormous amount of development that was being done in the Celtic Tiger years. In the Celtic Tiger years, we were probably building 60 to 90,000 houses every year. We were building thousands of apartments, and we were also building enormous amount of warehousing all over the country, in every city and in every town. With that happening, there was huge amounts of money being paid for development land in villages, in towns and in cities, with the result that the prices of houses increased by the week. People were buying large houses. They were paying an enormous amounts of money for them. They were also buying second houses for rent. They were also buying apartments in cities. They were buying apartments in holiday resorts in south of Europe, in Eastern Europe. They were also buying apartments in Florida and in other parts of America. People at the time were earning huge amounts of money, and the banks were giving them enormous amounts of money based on the salaries that they were earning at the time. People were getting 100% and 110% loans. If you bought a house at the time, they'd probably wonder or ask you if you needed a new car or if you needed to go on a holiday, and they would include an extra 10 or 15 or 20,000 to cover the car or to cover the holiday. Businesses in the villages and in the towns and in the cities at the time were booming because people had loads of money, and the people, when they had the money, they were spending it. Businesses were improving their premises, making their premises bigger. And people were rushing and racing, and they were going on holidays abroad 2 or 3 times a year, and people had maybe 2 or 3 credit cards. They were going on weekends away, and at the time it was a great time because everybody was very happy, everybody was working. We also had to bring in a huge amount of foreign nationals to fill the vacancies that we weren't able to fill ourselves. So the Celtic Tiger was a great time, and everybody thought that it was never going to end, but unfortunately it did.
So, my second question is, how does it compare to the modern day recession?
Well, the modern day recession, unfortunately, the Celtic Tiger left pretty fast, and people started to, I suppose, lose jobs, and the main area where people were losing jobs was in the buildings. The buildings stopped, and unemployment grew and grew and grew from the building game. Then when the monies stopped circulating, businesses started to go down, businesses started to close, people weren't spending, people weren't saving, the local government weren't taking in the revenue that they were taking in the Celtic Tiger times. There was being redundancies. Companies were rationalising. There was huge amounts of redundancies in businesses, and especially in the buildings, and also the government had to reduce civil servants like teachers, guards, and I suppose in the civil service end of it, they were also reducing the numbers of staff in the civil service also. The unemployment grew and grew and grew, and with the result that we probably now have an unemployment figure of around 10-12%, which is roughly around 500,000 people. There's a huge amount of people exiting this country again. The foreign nationals are going back. Our own people are going to Australia, and they're going to Canada. There's an enormous amount of businesses has closed in towns and in the cities. In towns, you will see a huge amount of vacant premises that have either closed or new premises that never opened. There's also derelict building sites where machinery and houses have finished, are lying idle, and doesn't look like that they will be finished for a long time. There's a lot of doom and gloom. You can even see it on the roads. In the Celtic Tiger times, there would be sand lorries and cement lorries, and there'd be queues of them going all directions. Today, you probably wouldn't see a sand lorry, or you wouldn't see a cement lorry, and it's a sign of recession times, where the roads also aren't as busy as there used to be. There's a lot of doom and gloom out there as well. People are very unhappy. People have less money in their pocket, and people are finding it very difficult. So recession times is not a nice place, but also I suppose it will probably make people think, I suppose, of who they are and who their neighbours are, and maybe they'll communicate better, and people maybe find themselves back in reality times.
Thank you very much for that, Dad. And